Hey everyone, ready for another deep dive?
Always.
Today we're going to dig into something a little different.
Okay.
We're going to be talking about the 2004 Thai monster movie, Garuda.
Oh, cool.
And,
Dang,
you
I'm
know,
intrigued.
yeah, it's a really interesting film that kind of tries to blend ancient myth and modern anxieties, all set in Bangkok.
A monster movie.
Yeah, a monster movie, exactly.
With a mythological twist?
Yeah, and it had potential.
Okay.
But it also got some pretty mixed reviews.
Really?
So we're going to kind of unpack why some people were fascinated by it while others were left wanting more.
Sounds like fun.
Now, the Garuda itself is a pretty powerful mythical creature.
I know a little bit about it.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's this majestic being with the head and wings of an eagle, but the body of a man.
right.
And it has a lot of significance in both Thai and Hindu mythology.
Yeah, it represents divine power, protection, and the triumph of good over evil.
Exactly. So it's not just your average monster.
Right, and that's what makes Garuda so interesting, right?
Yeah.
It takes this creature that's steeped in centuries of cultural significance and throws it into a monster movie setting.
A very specific type of monster movie, too.
Yeah. What kind?
Kaiju.
Like Godzilla.
Exactly. Giant monsters wreaking havoc.
Okay, so we've got ancient mythology, we've got a kaiju-inspired monster, and we've got Bangkok as the backdrop.
Sounds epic.
It does, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, a lot of critics felt like the film didn't quite live up to its potential.
Oh, really? Why not?
Well, one of the main criticisms was that it didn't fully explore the richness of the Garuda myth.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, it kind of relied on those familiar monster movie tropes instead of digging deeper into the symbolism and the philosophical implications.
So it was more focused on spectacle than substance?
That's one way to put it.
We see the Garuda's power and rage, but we don't really get a sense of its motivations or its connection to the human world.
And it's interesting because the film actually collaborated with some pretty big special effects studios, like Rhythm and Hue Studios, who worked on films like Babe and Stuart Little.
So they had experience.
Yeah. But even with that, the CGI was criticized as being unconvincing.
So we have a visually striking monster, a plot that touches upon these fascinating themes, and a special effects team with a good track record, but it still didn't quite come together.
Exactly. It's like they had all the right pieces, but they just didn't quite fit together the way they should have.
Almost like a puzzle that's been put together wrong.
Yeah. And another aspect that drew criticism was the character development.
The human element.
Right. The film introduces Leena, a half-Thai archaeologist, and her American partner, Tim.
Okay.
And they're caught in the middle of all this chaos, but their portrayal felt a little superficial.
So they didn't quite explore the potential for cultural commentary or emotional resonance?
Right. It's like they tried to touch upon these themes of cultural identity and the clash between tradition and modernity, but they only skimmed the surface.
Yeah, instead of going deeper, they kind of defaulted to those generic action movie tropes.
And that's a shame because Leena's character especially had so much potential.
She's struggling to reconcile her Thai heritage with her westernized lifestyle.
That could have added a really interesting layer to the film.
It could have been a reflection of Thailand's evolving identity in a globalized world.
Right. Instead of just being a monster movie, it could have been something much more profound.
A film that not only delivers those breathtaking visuals and action, but also grapples with the social and cultural anxieties of a nation trying to find its place on the world stage.
It's fascinating to think about what could have been.
Definitely.
But we'll get into that a bit later.
Okay.
For now, let's take a quick break, and we'll be back to dive deeper into Garuda.
Sounds good. It really does make you wonder what could have been, with a little more depth.
Yeah.
It's like they had these glimpses of a truly profound cinematic experience.
Right. And despite those flaws, the CGI, the characters,
Uh-huh.
a lot of people still found things to enjoy.
Yeah, like what?
Well, the final battle,
Yep.
where the Garuda just unleashes its full fury on Bangkok. That was a highlight for a lot of viewers.
Even those who weren't crazy about the rest of the film.
Exactly.
Huh, interesting.
What did you think of that sequence?
Well, I can see why some people found it a bit excessive, but I thought it was actually pretty effective.
Yeah.
Yeah, in terms of showcasing the Garuda's power.
Right. It's destructive to tenant.
Exactly. You really get that sense of awe and terror.
It's like those ancient mythical creatures just have this inherent power.
Totally.
Oh.
It's almost as if the film finally finds its footing when it embraces the spectacle.
Like it remembers it's a kaiju movie.
Right, giving the audience that visual chaos and destruction they're expecting.
So even though the story might not have been as strong,
Yeah,
that final battle gave people that cathartic release.
the kind you crave from a good monster movie.
Right. And, we have to remember that Garuda was a landmark film for Thai cinema.
Oh, how so?
It was their first attempt at a big-budget monster movie.
Wow, so it has historical significance then.
Definitely it paved the way for other filmmakers to explore the genre.
Even if Garuda didn't quite hit the mark.
Exactly. It's
Right.
like a stepping stone,
Pushing the boundaries?
Yeah, opening doors for future projects.
I see.
But let's say you're just an average viewer.
Someone who's looking for a fun monster movie.
Right, why should they even bother watching Garuda?
That's a good question, and I think it comes down to a few things.
Okay.
First, it's just a unique blend of Eastern mythology and Western cinematic influences.
Okay. So it's different.
Yeah, it's not your typical Hollywood monster movie.
Right, and the Garuda itself is a pretty visually captivating creature.
You won't see anything like that in Western cinema.
And then secondly...
Well, the film's imperfections actually add to its charm in a way.
Real.
It's the kind of film that can spark conversation,
Uh-huh.
Maybe even some laughter.
So bad. It's good.
Maybe not bad, but definitely memorable.
You'll have a story to tell.
Exactly.
So it's not a must-see masterpiece,
But it's worth checking out.
especially for monster movie fans.
Yeah, or anyone interested in exploring a different cinematic tradition.
It sounds like it's achieved a bit of a cult status.
It has, among those who appreciate that unique blend of spectacle, mythology, and, yeah, maybe a little unintentional humor.
It's like embracing the imperfections.
Right, while still offering moments of genuine entertainment.
And those imperfections, they actually make it more intriguing.
Because they make you wonder what could have been.
Like, how could this have been better?
Exactly, and that opens up possibilities for reimagining the story.
And the myth itself.
Right.
It's interesting to think about how a modern reimagining of Garuda could succeed where the original maybe didn't.
Especially with today's technology,
The special effects would be amazing.
And if they were willing to delve deeper into the source material,
Explore the myth more fully.
a new Garuda film could be something truly special.
Imagine that. A film that embraces the cultural significance of the Garuda.
Explores its symbolism and its philosophical depth.
And weaves all of that into a compelling narrative.
One that resonates with a global audience.
Why?
With the right approach, a modern Garuda film could be really powerful.
Exploring themes like environmentalism, the clash between tradition and modernity, the search for identity.
Issues that are relevant to all of us.
It's incredible to think about.
It is.
And in a way, it's like Garuda, as flawed as it was.
Yeah.
It opened the door for this kind of storytelling.
It showed the potential of blending ancient myths with modern concerns.
It's inspiring in a way.
It is. It reminds us that even imperfect creations can spark our imaginations.
And push us to think bigger.
Who knows what incredible stories are still out there waiting to be discovered
Or rediscovered.
and reimagined for a new generation.
Hidden beneath layers of forgotten lore.
Maybe the next Garuda is just waiting for the right moment.
To take flight.
Exactly.
So even with its flaws, Garuda got people thinking and talking.
Yeah, it definitely had an impact.
What would you say its legacy is all these years later?
I think it's a reminder that just because you're ambitious and innovative,
Doesn't mean you're going to be successful.
right, it doesn't guarantee critical or commercial success.
But it also shows the power of taking risks.
And pushing boundaries.
Yeah, like even though Garuda didn't quite reach its full potential
It still left a mark.
on Thai cinema
It showed what was possible.
and inspired other filmmakers,
To try new things.
like embracing genre filmmaking
And exploring their own cultural heritage.
through film.
Exactly.
It's a good lesson
For anyone, really.
that sometimes your projects just don't work out
But they can still pave the way for others.
and inspire creativity.
Yeah, failure can be a stepping stone.
So where does all this leave us?
What can we take away from this deep dive?
I think for anyone who hasn't seen Garuda,
It's worth checking out.
even if it's just to see what Thai cinema can do,
It offers a unique perspective.
and for all of us,
Garuda shows us that even flawed creations
can get us thinking,
and inspire us to do better,
to tell stories that matter.
that are both entertaining and meaningful.
It's a good reminder that we can always learn,
From everything we watch.
even the films that aren't perfect.
So keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep those imaginations going.
You never know what amazing stories are out there,
Waiting to be discovered.
or rediscovered
And reimagined.
for a whole new audience.
Exactly.
That's it for this deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
Until next time, happy diving.